All right, so today we're diving into the world of Dee Whitelocke and her upcoming thriller, Guilty.
Hmm.
Um, it's really interesting, how she's kind of going against the grain, taking this different approach to getting her book out there, especially with the whole Kickstarter thing.
Yeah, no doubt. Even just the title, right? Guilty. You kind of can't help but be intrigued. And then when you consider how long she's been working on this story, years apparently, it really makes you think like there's got to be something special there, something with some real depth.
Absolutely, and she actually started building up a following by releasing chapters on Kindle Vella, and that's Vella, not Vila.
Right, right.
Which I think is pretty cool because it gave her that direct line to readers, to really get their feedback and interact.
Yeah.
But it's her Kickstarter campaign, the one she has going on right now, it's really making waves.
Yeah, for sure. And you know what I think is super smart about it? The funding goal. She set it at like $600.
Right.
Which, let's be honest, pretty much guarantees she'll hit it, right? And that in itself creates this excitement, this buzz, which, I mean, it's clearly working. I mean, think about it. 55 hours left, and she's already blown past her goal.
Yeah, no kidding. It is amazing to see how a lower goal like that can just like propel things forward. You don't really see that with traditional book launches.
Mm-hmm.
But what really caught my attention, I got to say, were the stretch goals, especially the audiobook one.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. That audiobook stretch goal, total genius. I mean, come on, a murder mystery thriller. I want to talk about immersive. That's going to be like the perfect format. And think of the reach, right? How many more people she could connect with.
Right. Like you can just imagine yourself, totally engrossed in that suspense, all the heightened senses, just from the audio alone.
Exactly. And don't forget, people only 55 hours left to get in on that, to help make that audiobook happen.
Now, here's something else that I found really interesting. She launched this whole Kickstarter thing before she even finished the book, which, I don't know, it says something, doesn't it, about the demands on authors these days?
For sure. It's a whole different ball game now, the world of indie publishing. Authors today, but I mean, they're not just writers anymore. They're marketers, they're community managers, they're crowdfunding experts. It's a lot.
Right. And it kind of makes you wonder, though, like with all that pressure, does it stifle creativity? Or is this just like the new reality for writers who are, trying to make a name for themselves?
That's a really good question. But, one thing I do have to give Whitelocke credit for is her honesty, her transparency. She's very upfront about the fact that the money from Kickstarter, it's going towards professional editing, cover design. And to me, that shows a real commitment to quality, which at the end of the day, it benefits us, the readers.
Absolutely. And that actually ties in nicely with the potential of that audiobook stretch goal, right? Reaching a wider audience, folks who might prefer, listening to a book rather than reading it, especially with a thriller like Guilty.
Totally. It's all about giving people different ways to experience the story, and that innovative thinking, that's what really sets successful indie authors like Whitelocke apart.
It's interesting, isn't it? We talk a lot about the business side of things, the whole how-to of being an author. But for me, it always comes back to the story itself. So what about Guilty? What about it grabs you?
Well, we've got these little snippets, these glimpses into the plot. Like there's this small town, right? But it's hiding this dark secret. And then you've got this character who's faced with like an impossible choice. So I'm really curious to see, how it all unfolds, what kind of themes Whitelocke's going to explore. It makes you wonder, right? Does Guilty have like a personal connection? I mean, her journey to publication, it's been anything but ordinary. And she seems to really value community connection. So maybe that'll find its way into the story somehow.
That's a really interesting thought. But I don't know, do you think, are we reading too much into it, projecting her life onto the work? Maybe Guilty is more about, human nature in general, and the small town setting is just like a way to focus that, a microcosm of bigger societal issues.
Yeah, you're right. You could definitely see it that way. The setting itself could almost be like another character, right? Adding to the weight of those secrets, the pressure of those community expectations. And let's not forget, I mean, she spent time on Kindle Vella, putting out chapters, getting that direct feedback from readers. So I wonder how that might have shaped the story too.
I know, it's wild, right? Writing a novel in real time, week after week, with people reacting, giving their input, that must have been such a unique challenge. Like, being flexible, being open to adapting based on what readers are saying.
Yeah, totally different from the traditional way of doing things, the solitary writer all alone with their manuscript. I bet that direct connection with readers led to some unexpected turns, some twists in the plot. Maybe Guilty is almost like a collaboration in a way.
That makes me think about her decision to launch the Kickstarter before even finishing the book. Do you think there's a link there between, that open approach to writing and her willingness to involve backers in the process?
I think you might be onto something. I mean, they both show this desire to break down the walls, right,
Yeah.
between author and audience, to make the whole creative journey a shared experience. And with the audiobook stretch goal, well, that just takes it to another level, doesn't it? It makes it even more immersive, more accessible.
And speaking of taking risks, in that excerpt we have, there's this scene where the main character is confronted with this impossible choice. It's like a real moral dilemma. No easy answers. Seems like Whitelock isn't shying away from tough themes, from really making readers question, their ideas about right and wrong.
Yeah, and it's not just like a plot device either. It's how she writes it, that evocative prose. It really pulls you into the characters, their inner struggle. You really feel that
It
pressure.
makes you think, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Are there ever really clear-cut answers in those situations? Or is it more about navigating that gray area, the complexity of morality? It's a powerful question, and it stays with you, long after you finish reading.
Exactly. That's what good storytelling does, right? It doesn't give you easy answers. It makes you think, it challenges your perspective, and that's what makes it stick with you.
It's easy to get bogged down, Life gets in the way, and those creative dreams, they fade into the background. But I don't know, Dee Whitelocke's story, it's like a reminder, right, that it's never too late to chase those passions.
Yeah, for sure. It doesn't matter what it is, really. Writing, starting a business, learning something new. Anything that lights you up.
Right. Sometimes all you need is that little push, that spark of inspiration to get you going. And with what, like 55 hours left in her Kickstarter, her story could be that spark for someone listening right now.
Absolutely. I mean, it's pretty amazing to see how, like, a simple idea, just with some dedication, a little bit of know-how, it can become something real, something
Yeah.
tangible. Who knows? Maybe your guilty pleasure project, that's the next deep dive we take, right?
That would be awesome to see another story, come to life, to witness that creativity in action. And that's really what it's all about, isn't it? Supporting each other, sharing those stories, making the world a little bit brighter, one creative endeavor at a time.
Yeah.
Couldn't have said it better myself. So to our listeners out there, think out this. What will your legacy be? What stories will you leave behind?
Yeah, keep those questions in mind as you go about your day. And in the meantime, I definitely recommend checking out Dee Whitelocke's Guilty. Support her Kickstarter if you can, especially with that audiobook goal, and just dive into that world of indie publishing. You never know what amazing things you might find.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep creating, and keep diving deep.